So, when I start a new project, I get deeply so involved sometimes to learn the intricate details of how things work. I've currently been doing this with a team when we build our chatbots, for our own and for our clients. One of the many things that make chatbot building so interesting is identifying the chatbot's personality. I mean, there's a lot more factors to consider, of course, but in this case, I want to talk about the personality of the chatbot. We have to consider the mix and balance of technology and, of course, its limitations and the complication of the customer experience because we're dealing with human beings, right? So there's been a discussion around whether chatbots should mimic a human or become more human, right? Okay, so one side thinks we shouldn't even start as it is deceiving, very annoying. When they finally realize it was actually a machine that they were talking to. And I've had personal conversations with a few during networking events and stuff, getting some feedback. Now, with that experience, they're more cautious when they start a conversation with a chatbot within their website or, let's say, Facebook Messenger, right? The other side of the fence thinks it should be closer to how humans relate, but the expectations, of course, are higher and it's more complicated. More complicated to build because you have to consider so many factors and put it into a machine and then let it learn eventually. It could, like any customer experience, could go both ways, positive, negative, right? So do we need to create a personality then? Do we make it more human or just make it boring and dull as humans expect machines to be like, right? Just do your job. Another question is, do you create a chatbot that resembles a mini me of yourself, so to speak? Or do you actually have to create a new one? Now, okay, I'm going to answer some of those questions. So the first question is easy. Do we need to create a personality then? Definitely yes. Okay, like your chatbot, like other assets you've got in your business, is a representation of your brand. A logo, for example, if done right, not just because you put everything's a few elements together and that's your logo. And you know what I mean if you're into branding and marketing. But, and your digital assets, even your team processes and more are part of what your business represents. So why shouldn't your chatbot be the same, right? Okay. So that's easy to answer. Now, a chatbot personality, boring, cool, or memorable. Machines are usually safe. And you know what I mean when I say safe, right? In terms of language and stuff, but they do what they're expected to do. It's logical, it's functional. Well, and sometimes it's also boring. It gets to be boring and it gets to be dull and dry. It's like everything else, right? You expect that from a machine. So most starter chatbots, and that's fine, are machine-like. They are there to serve a specific function and the customer experience is usually positive as long as the expectation has been set in the beginning. So, question, answer, done. Happy? Is it a great experience? Maybe. It's okay. So it's okay to be safe in the beginning because it does the job, right? Now moving on to the cool factor. You might say silently in your head, oh my God, that is so cool. When a chatbot starts to know what to answer when you type in familiar phrases onto the text box. Even sometimes, with the right emojis or thumbs up, and it understands exactly what you mean. And it can also send you a joke or have a sense of shows, and if it's text, it depends. If it's text, a digital human, or a voice is a little bit easier to determine, right, in terms of tone, but it makes you start to engage more, right? You start to trust the capabilities and rely on it. But in time, like any shiny new toy, you'd eventually go on to the next shimmering wonder, right? So, but what happens when a chatbot greets and engages with you as you expect a staff member would if it was human? What happens when the feelings and expectations you have for that business is actually executed well by their machine? That it actually leaves a similar experience you're accustomed to. And this is why you are a loyal customer of that business or that brand, right? Now it becomes memorable. Okay, I can hear some of you say, well, Jam, a negative experience can also be memorable. We don't want that. Of course we don't. Who does, right? But look, like life and so on, we can't expect it to be always positive all the time. The important thing is, how do we turn things around so every chatbot and human interaction leaves a positive feeling, which makes it a better memory for your customers, right? Okay, so I'm getting ahead of myself here. But the point is having a point of difference. Okay, that's a bit redundant, but you know what I mean? That makes the experience memorable. When someone interacts with your chatbot, that's the point. So the likelihood of them moving to the competition is a little bit less because they kind of remember you and it is a memory, right? High recall, as we call it when I talk to my students in the classroom for marketing. Um, so anyway, hopefully at this point I've managed to explain how important a chatbot personality is when you start building them. Now let's move on to whether it should mimic a human being, or should it be a clone, or should be a an entirely different personality. Because I hear it all the time. I need to clone myself. And of course I continue to say, and I say it myself too. Yeah, me too. Let me know when cloning is available so I can get one for myself, right? Secretly, we all, even though we don't admit it, we all want one, meaning a clone, so we can do more things in life. But anyway, so should a chatbot then be a splitting image of you? It can be. If you want it to be an extension of yourself and your audience or customers prefer to work with you instead of your team, then yes. And that has happened to me before. That's another story. But why change it if it's going to break their trust and risk losing the business, right? So let's not change it. So this is great when your business relies on you to be front-facing, like consultants and so on, trainers, etc. Even if you have a small team or a team behind you, but if you are the face of the business, then great. Then, as you think it through, you might say, look, why can't I just talk as myself then? Why do I have to even create a personality or a mini me? I mean, what's the point? It's me, because as you said, I'm front facing, everyone's used to me and my personality and so on. Simple answer, because the chatbot isn't you. The reason again is, look, with technologies that make it easier to automate our processes and conversations these days, we all know what to do. That's another video post with regards to automating conversations and stuff. Even though we know it has its positives and the pros and stuff, etc., it has a limit, right? But you see, the thing is, you risk degrading the level of trust and loyalty of your audience. Would you want them to remember you based on an automated conversation that is less personalized? Because I hope not. They will eventually disengage, and we know what happens after that, right? Now, for big corporates, this is when a chatbot can be synonymous to your brand. What makes it strong? What is its values? What does it represent, etc. So the tone, the language, everything we have to consider before we even start on doing the technical stuff in the building and the coding. This is where your team who interacts with your customers often come in. It could be a mix of experts that live and breathe your brand. It could be part of your company or consultants, and they help to build your chatbot as well, the personality. And of course, don't forget your customers. They're very, very important. If you can bring them in the session and while you're trying to figure out what the personality is, bring them in. Because again, the chatbot is not for you. The chatbot is for your customers. So anyway, with all the things I've said, your bot is born. Well, at least the personality is born. Whether you decide it to be a clone or a completely newborn, so to speak, it should give at least a glimpse of what a good experience should be like in their journey with you. So hopefully this helps in terms of, well, just my thoughts on having a personality for a chatbot. And next time, I will I'm thinking of posting of where your chatbot should actually be in the customer journey. And that's another post. Thanks, guys. Till next time.